Alcohol affects people in many different ways. Some get happy, some get angry, some start fights, some decide to become funny. Others end up doing really bad things, like getting behind the wheel of a vehicle. Hello, I'm Patrick Molino, and I'm here to discuss several things about drinking. First, I'll be talking about acceptable quantities of alcohol for men, women who are pregnant. Then I'll be talking about how to prevent people from drinking and driving. And ultimately, the consequences of their actions for getting behind a wheel of a vehicle. Throughout my life, I know many people who had a few too many and just got in a car and drove home. Luckily, they made it home safe and sound. The way they think about it nowadays is they're just young, but now they will not do it. It's like they grew up. I wish these are one of the lessons that you learn very young in life. Acceptable quantities of alcohol. For men, it doesn't matter if you're big, burly, small, scrawny. The acceptable quantities is about 21 units of alcohol per week. That is including a 2-day rest period, because many people need to have a break for their liver. Women, on the other hand, should not have more than 14 units of alcohol per week with a 2-day rest period. Now, these are acceptable. Doesn't mean you have to reach these acceptable limits. It's nice to come home, unwind, maybe have a glass of wine, or maybe a beer, you know? Women who are pregnant, on the other hand, very different. In America, they say, American doctors say never to consume alcohol. On the other hand, when you go to England, they say a glass of red wine every now and again is perfectly fine. Now, I would err on the side of caution and go with none. But it's all up to the individual. Definitely do not get drunk while pregnant. Now, since I discussed the acceptable quantities, I'm going to go on to how to prevent people from drinking and driving. There are several ways to prevent it. Going out with friends, gonna have a good time. Make sure someone responsible is the DD that you can really count on. Because I know throughout the military, there are several DUIs a year. And the DD, out of all the DUIs, most ends up drinking. So just make sure you have someone dependable. If you throw a party at your house, take the keys off them. That's the only thing I can say. And if you need to go broke paying for a cab ride home, well, so be it. Call your mom. Call your dad. Call your supervisor. Call the chief. Because I rather, and they rather, see you come home alive and not in prison for the rest of your life for manslaughter. Cabs, responsible adults, are pretty much the keys to success with you not drinking and driving. Now, since I talked about the keys of avoiding a DUI, let's go into consequences so it really comes home and affects you and makes you think. First off, if you get caught drinking and getting behind the wheel of a vehicle, the cops are gonna arrest you, take you to prison, and depending on the state and the local laws, you will have a criminal record. You will lose your license for a minimum of 6 months, up to a year, depending on, is this your first instance? Paying for all the legal fees. Well, I can speak for one of my good buddies, where he paid upwards to $8,000 for his legal fees plus his ticket for his DUI. State of New York, where he got the DWI originally. He went into court and it dropped down to a DUI. Still didn't make any matters any better. He still lost his license. Still had that on his record. Raised his insurance for years. All he knows is he made it home safe and sound. And he's never done it since. He actually quit drinking. The scariest part of a DUI or a DWI is the possibility of a head-on collision, killing yourself, others, women, children, husbands, kids going off to soccer games, mothers driving them. How do you live with that? I know I couldn't. Just food for thought. Now, since I've discussed the acceptable alcohol limits for men, women who are pregnant, how to prevent a DUI, and the consequences, I hope it's really hit home that next time you go out, you have a plan. I know the military broadcasts that every weekend, and I know for some of you, you're not in the military, but you really do need a plan. Military, civilian, it's not a joke. Stay safe, and thank you for listening.